Hello guys, I am back from another video and today we're talking about what the deku was abandoned. So in the last video deku, after, well, after being told that they're going to be going to a training camp, they started getting ready to go there by going to the mall and basically getting all of their things. Specifically just canned foods, clothes, and also like camping supplies, things like that. As they arrived there, they met up with well, the Wild Wild Pussycats. Sorry about that. The Wild Wild Pussycats basically trained them a little bit as they they basically had dinner and Izuku was going to to the unisex well to the unisex hot springs so he can drink his special concoction of chili liquor and sake. But unfortunately, his little harem well of Kaminari, Eri, and Jiro basically decide to come into the hot springs with Izuku and basically drank the alcohol and made them really drunk. And because of that, all three of them had well their fun. As in fun, I mean they well they had the hokey pokey, the fun time. Basically, they literally fricked. As in fricked, I mean fucked. Because this is still an 18 plus channel. As an 18 plus channel, I mean the series. So yeah. So after thing, they gone back to to their Pacific tent as they gone to sleep. So yeah. So let's talk about what happens next. So, when they woke up, they were training again as they were told that Class 1B is going to be arriving soon. So, when Class 1D arrives, they basically started, coming towards Izuku because, when they first saw Izuku without his mask, were pretty interested. Even some girls from Class 1B even wanted to, hook up. But, well, Kaminari, Eri, and Jiro decide to say to themselves, huh, so they like Izuku. Well, time to make their lives a living hell then. So, yeah, they started annoying all of the girls in Class 1B to not, to try and not seduce Izuku. So, yeah. So, after that whole training bit, they were told that they're gonna be doing a special activity which is called the test of courage. So everybody basically started going into in the starting point as they were told that they're gonna be staying in teams of four. So Izuku's team was well it was obvious. It's Kaminari, Eri, and well and the lovely Jiro. So yeah, after being told that, they started going into the forest. So wait for a second. So when they made it into the forest, all three of the girls are basically like locking arms with Izuku. For Eri, she was like being carried like a piggyback ride. I meant piggyback ride. As one was being Jiro said this, "Hey Eri, get off Izuku, you damn heavy bitch." And yes, this is still an 18 plus series, so yeah. As for for Eri, she said this, "Shut up. At least I'm not addicted to let's just say My Chemical Romance." As she starts getting mad, as they started arguing a little bit. So, the arguing was, still keeping up. It was, how do I say it? Like, 5 or 5:30 p.m. As when they were still arguing, they hear, well, the sound of fire. As they see the fire, and the fire was color blue. Like, maybe the same colors as Izuku's, well, ice. Izuku said this, "Hey, girls, basically get ready." As all three of the girls started getting ready for, well, for a fight, so Kaminari starts creating, well, little sparks of electricity. For Eri, she brings out two knives. And finally, for, well, for, wait for a second, Jiro starts getting ready because, well, she doesn't have the her, well, her shoe things that allows her to basically scream so loud that it can basically burst like somebody's eardrums. No, she, instead of like using that, she uses hand-to-hand combat. So they basically see a man with several scars on his face, like he has stitches on his face. I said this, so you must be class 1A. Okay, guess I'll have to kill you then. As Ziku brings out his sniper rifle. Izuku's not wearing his costume at the time, but Izuku still has like well, it has a special ability. Is sniper rifle. It's able to basically compact to like, well, the size of like a penny, and when Izuku wants it to activate, it basically spawns and transforms into the sniper rifle. So yeah, so Izuku aims at well, at the guy. As Izuku says this, "So tell me your name before you freaking die." As he says this, "Alright, alright. You can just call me Dobby." Dobby? Wait for a second. Sorry about that, it was just an ad. So, Dobby said this. "Sorry, but my last words are these. Bye-bye." As he brings out a blast of blue fire, but Izuku blocks it using, well, creating his, well, gigantic, well, broadsword with the ability to come, well, create ice. The broadsword basically freezes, well, the area and basically creates a gigantic wall of ice. So Dobby starts running as Izuku sees behind him several, well, Nomus. So Eri starts charging in as Eri uses her knives to basically start stabbing into the, well, into the Nomu. As the Nomu starts screaming, as she stabs the brain, it basically kills it. Izuku uses his, well, Kodachi and creates a water katana. As the katana basically starts slicing through everything, Izuku uses this well, special ability of his, which he trained with, well, Tiger. I think that's what's his name. So Izuku basically just starts concentrating. As when he concentrates, well, the Nomus start, well, violently shaking as water starts getting well, seeped out of their skin because Izuku absorbed their, well, their what do you call it, get all of their moisture. The Izuku just basically used, well, how do I say it, it's basically like blood bending, but except Izuku just gets all of the moisture, like literally gets all of the water in the Nomu's bodies. As the Nomus basically well, stop moving. So Izuku tells Jiro to basically go back to the, well, to the training camp. I meant training camp proper, to basically tell the teachers immediately. So she starts running as she kills a bit of Nomus well, the way there. So yeah. So Izuku decides to, well, look around and check if the other students are okay. So Izuku helps out the other students by basically defeating the rest of these, well, Nomus. So yeah, these Nomus were pretty low level and they were easily defeated. The rest of the villains basically disappear in the, well, in a, well, how do I say it? In a portal, but it's not like Konigiri's portal. It was pure darkness, just a black hole, basically, but it doesn't suck everything in. Oh, yeah. So, wait for a second. So, after everybody came back to, well, UA, well, Izuku was brought to the principal's office so he can report his findings with the rest of the, well, of Team Ragnarok. So, after telling them about, well, the League of Villains basically attacking them, well, they decide to do this. They're gonna be telling these, well, these, future heroes to basically try and take them down. As in take them down, I mean, they're gonna be, taking down, them in the source. As in source, I mean the League of Villains base. So, one of these was, he was a hacker back in the, well, in the facility. So, he hacks into the database of the League of Villains and finds out where they're actually living. So, apparently they're living on an island. So, yeah. So, after reporting that back to, well, Principal Nezu, they basically said this. I'm talking about Principal Nezu, by the way. So, Principal Nezu said this. Alright, every single hero, get ready because we're gonna be raiding that base. He kind of gets this, like, sadistic smile. Yeah, he gets that, like those creepy ass, like, smiles that you would see in, like, just imagine, Noro's smile from, like, Undertale. It's basically what he's doing right now. So, yeah. So, every student in UA basically gets a message like that as they started getting ready for this final battle between the heroes and villains. And, yeah, this is also going to be the finale. Don't know yet. I'm just going to say, if it's going to be finale, if it's going to be the finale, I'm gonna put that on the title. So, yeah. So, everybody was brought to a, well, to the island by using one of those, like, those, choppers. I don't know what it's, called, but I think it was, like, like a helicopter with, like, two propellers, like those two helicopter propellers on their wings. I can't remember the name, but when they flown, there, they basically set up their, base of operations at a mountain. So, every student is basically anxious because, well, it's their first time going to be taking down a villain base. But Izuku and the rest of Team Ragnarok, it's basically just like a, well, a normal, like, a normal ass Monday to them, actually, because, well, after all, they are technically assassins. So wait for a second again. So, after being told by one of the UA teachers, which was, well, All Might. All Might says this. So, we're gonna be taking them down after you rest. So, you better get ready. As the rest of the students say this. Yeah. So, yeah. So, after they prepared for a little bit, well, well, Izuku was basically, well, sharpening his blade. Izuku started talking to people for once. Izuku acted so kind, which is unusual to, well, some people because of his occupation, which is being an assassin, a cold, heartless one, in fact. After all, he was experimented on. It would actually take a toll on a person. So yeah. So everybody is basically getting ready as they basically, well at the villain's base, the League of Villains base, like maybe like a few feet away. Well, several guards were there as Izuku was told that they're gonna be going in first. So basically starts stealthily going there, including Rose using her her darkness manipulation. Basically, they basically just teleport behind the guards by going into their shadows and basically start assassinating them like that. Like she basically goes into the darkness, hops onto their shadow, and basically came out of them like a jack in a box and basically starts slicing their throats. That's what she basically did. Izuku starts slicing them by using his kodachi as like a knife. So after telling them it's into clear, they basically start charging in at the League of Villains base. So all of the heroes and heroes in training start slashing, taking down all of these villains. As the leader of the League of Villains, oh for one, well, apparently when they made it to to the where he's basically staying, I'm talking about all for one where he's actually usually staying. Apparently he committed suicide. When Izuku looked into into the note that says about this suicide, apparently is something about if his children finally sees this letter, it basically says this: I'm sorry, but I just wanted to protect you from this horrible world. It basically says that. It starts explaining how like the world betrayed him, and he said was sorry, so he wants to forgive himself by killing himself. So it says the villains, or at least the rest of the villains, basically escaped, but most of the villains basically got captured by the heroes as the heroes start bringing the dead body of All for One to to somewhere else, aka a memorial. So yeah, so after that whole thing, it's as in smooth sailing. I mean, it's still not going to be the end because we're gonna talk about the whole movie. Yay! It's just an excuse so it can just tie up some loose ends. So yeah, let us begin. So, Izuku was told by Vanessa they're going to be going to Island. That is where they're going to be having a party. Izuku was excited because Izuku wants to finally act almost like a normal kid. At least what he thinks is normal. I mean, he is he is an experiment, and not only that, he's like 18, and for an 18-year-old, it's probably like pretty traumatizing. So yeah, so Rose and Tristan basically are excited, and also the rest of Class 1A. So Class 1A's very own wait for a second, Izumi Midoriya. Apparently she's going to be bringing in a special guest, and that special guest is her mother, Inko Midoriya. So after telling her mother that, they were started to go started getting ready for for going to the to the island. So yeah, so Izuku was waiting for the rest of his classmates. As Izuku sees well Jiro, M- Jiro, Kaminari, and I meant Momo. I meant Eri. As Eri said this, "Hey Izuku, so what do you think of my dress?" He says this, "You look beautiful." So yeah. So after finally waiting for Izumi arrived with her mother, Inko Midoriya. Izuku felt a little bit weird around Izumi's mother. Izuku thinks that Izuku knows her by somewhere, or at least somehow Izuku thinks that well, Izuku thinks that, well, she knows her, or he knows her, but Izuku can't remember at all. And yes, if you probably forgotten, well, Izuku's well, long lost sister is actually well, Izumi, and the whole like all for one basically committing suicide thing and saying like his children were saying his like children, like saying like I'm really sorry about like everything that he done. Yeah, Izuku is the son of all for one, and not only that, Inko Midoriya. So yeah, that makes Izuku a Midoriya. So yeah, so Izuku doesn't know that yet. So they started going to I meant I Island. As when they made it there, they met up with, well, wait for a second, with Melissa Shield. As when Vanessa met up with Melissa, they basically had that glare at each other, thinking in their minds, it's that bitch. For, well, Melissa, she said this. Oh, it's been a long time, Vanessa. Heh, I wondered, how was your whole, like, well, all your humiliation from last time? As she said this, shut up, you damn bitch. As they started getting mad at each other. As, well, one of them being, well, Bako said this. Hey, Izuku, do you know what's happened to them? Or, well, like this. They seem to be mad at each other. As, well, they hate each other. That's obvious. They've been rivals since, well, childhood. As in rivals, I mean complete enemies. As as Baku said this. Oh, so they absolutely hate each other. Izuku says this exactly. Izuku's able to talk with them a little bit because, well, Izuku thinks of them as friends. So yeah. So everything in just like in the anime, I meant in the anime, I meant the movie happened just like that until the, well, whole like ball scene. So Izuku was wearing a how do I say it? Izuku's wearing a pure white suit with a black, well, bow tie, and also wearing a, well, a fedora. The fedora's basically pure white with, well, a purple strip. When Izuku arrives there, Izuku sees all three of the girls. Jiro's wearing a, well, a simple dress with like a jacket over it, like a leather jacket. For for Kaminari, she's wearing, well, a typical dress, like she's wearing a yellow dress with like gold trimming. And finally for Eri, she's wearing a red dress with high heels and stockings. Six. Whoa, all three of you look beautiful. As when Izuku sees Izumi, Izumi said this. Hey guys, she's wearing a simple, well, green dress. Izuku thinks his mind. Ugh, what in the? Why do I? Why do I keep feeling something in my head? Feels like hellfire. So the dancing begins. As when they started dancing, it's basically like a simple like ballroom dance. Until when it's finally time for them to basically go back to their rooms. So when Izuku was going back to his well, hotel room, Izuku was told by Izumi to go to her, which Izuku thinks his mind is weird. So, well, Inko Midoriya, the mother of Izumi Midoriya, aka Izuku's classmate. Izuku sits down on the bed. Izuku said this. So, why do you want to talk to me about? As, well, Inko said this. Izuku, it's It's you. Izuku says this. What? As she says this, it's actually you. As Izuku says this, what are you talking about? She says this. You're you're my son. She starts crying as Izuku says this. Son, I don't know what you're talking about. As she says this, you don't remember. It's me, your mother, Inko. Izuku starts getting flashbacks of Asashi. As in Asashi, I mean, oh for one. Oh for one, his father. The father that basically wanted to protect him. So he pretended to be dead. And the so-called, well, terrorists were actually 0 for 1 as well, servant who gets another memory. The memory of how he gets separated from, well, his mother and his sister. So, yeah, Izuku, after getting all of those flashbacks, Izuku starts crying. Izuku said this, Mom, Mom. Izuku saw hugs her as she said this. Shh. Don't worry, Izuku. Mother's here. As Izumi said this, so you really are my brother. It feels weird, but it also feels good as well. So you really are my brother. Sorry about that. As Izuku said this, so you're my sister. It's been a long time. Zuku's, well, hair's still pretty dark, but there's still accents of, well, green. As she said this, huh, looking at you closer really does make you look, well, look like a Midoriya. There's a bit of green on your hair as well, Izuku. Izuku says this. I found my family. The ones that I actually belong to. Izuku cried. As Midoriya, as in Midoriya, I mean Inko said this. Don't worry, Izuku. I mean, we, we, we are family after all. Even though Asashi tried to protect you, and also not only that, tried to, well, frame me as being the bad guy. You, you actually, well, acted like you acted like a great man, Izuku. Izuku says this. Really, mother? As she said this, yeah, I feel happy for you, Izuku. As Izuku cried and cried. As Izumi said this. So, Izuku, do you want to introduce mother to your, well, to your girlfriends? As she starts smiling a little bit, like that smug smile. As Izuku said this. Oh no. As, well, Inko said this. Girlfriends? What do you mean by girlfriends, Izuku? Izuku said this. Mother, as the door opens, as comes out of there, or comes in, was, well, Jiro, Kaminari, and Eri. As Eri said this, so why are you doing here, Izuku? I meant, what are you doing here, Izuku? As Izuku said this, um, guys, as, well, Inko said this, so, you're dating my son, hmm? As, well, Kaminari said this, wait, son. That means, as she said this, I'm talking about, well, Jiro, she says this. Wait, that means you found your mother. As she starts blushing a little bit, as she said this, it's nice to meet you, ma'am. Uh, as, well, wait for a sec. As Inko laughed as she said this, don't worry, don't be so formal. I mean, I'm quite happy that, well, my son actually had the, well, girlfriends. And also, Izuku. Izuku said this, yes, mom? As she said this, are you trying to make them, well, be their slaves? I mean, trying to be, trying to make them your slaves? Izuku says this, no, not in that way. As she says this, so, you're trying to play with their hearts? Izuku says this, no, not her. All three of the girls start laughing a little bit as Eri said this, playing with our hearts. No, in fact, it's more like I'm playing with his heart than anything else. As me said this, yeah, you literally try to, well, seduce him after all. As well, Inko said this, seduce him. So yeah, they were talking all night as it's basically the final day of, well, the whole, well, visiting of Island. So yeah, so after that, they started going back to, well, Japan proper. So Zuku decides to, well, quit his job as an assassin and decide to become a full-time hero. So yeah, this is going to be the end of this, well, what if series. So yeah, this is going to be the epilogue. So in this epilogue, Izuku marries all three of the girls, um Kaminari, and Eri. Izuku became the number one hero, and not only that, Izuku finally got his family back together, being Inko and his long lost sister, Izumi. Izumi was really happy to finally see her long lost brother. She's been looking for him for a long time actually. So Izuku gets three children, each from all three of the girls. One one has, well, Izuku's, well, ability to basically, well, check out a person's quirk. Basically like quirk sight, just basically like Izuku's quirk sight, but except it's also mixed in with rewind. Yes, that's Izuku's child with, well, with Eri. For a second. For the other girl is basically like basically just Omega Electricity. Yeah, that's basically the child of Izuku, and thanks to them being together and making a baby, it basically gave the baby the ability to use, well, really powerful electricity. But unfortunately, as in for unfortunately, I mean fortunately, it allows her, and yes, I said her, Izuku's daughter, to basically, well, it doesn't make her go into a dum dum mode. In fact, it makes her stronger thanks to the, well, to the artificial quirk. So yeah. So, and the final girl, which is with Jiro, basically has a mix of well, a water and, well, and sound quirk. Because of that, well, the child is able to use, well, can create, well, sound blades. As in sound blades, I mean she's able to create, well, blades made out of sound. And the sound blades, or the blades made out of sound, is also have the blade part. It's basically just water, which, well, thanks to her ability to use, well, sounds, she's able to manipulate it freely. Like for example, she's able. I meant he's able, and yes, I said he. He's able to basically like manipulate it to transform into like per se a whip or a well, or per se a god dang dragon. So yeah, so this is going to be the end of this series, and I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.